Hello and welcome back to FiddleUP. My name is Emerald Ray, and today we're going to be talking about the bow, and we're going to be talking about your bowing. So bowing in terms of fiddle music is a totally different thing than it is in classical music. In classical music, everybody decides together for the most part, unless you're the soloist, which, as we know, the likelihood of that is slim, although when you're studying, you're going to learn lots of soloist material and you get to decide these things. In general, what everybody's doing is trying to look the same. It's trying to look visually stunning and visually uniform. So everybody does the same bowing. So when everybody's sitting in the orchestra, the powers that be, the first violinist, the concertmaster decides what everybody's gonna do. And so that everybody has all of these beautiful bows going together. And if you look at a fiddle jam or a fiddle orchestra even, you'll see everybody's bow is going all over the place. There's no uniformity whatsoever. And yet, a beautiful sound rises out of all of it, and you hear the tune coming out of everybody doing different bowing, everybody doing different ornamentation, everybody doing their double stops in a different place. And still, the tune rises out of all of that. So it's not totally necessary. It is definitely a visual choice to have the whole orchestra doing the same bowing and doing the same bowing every single time. In fiddle music, we're trying to do different bowing all the time. We're trying to change up what we're doing all of the time, which might seem a little strange, but it's so that you can be in the moment with it. You can change the tune a little bit. You can change your emphasis on this note or that note, or you can change the ornamentation, and that's going to change how your bow goes. So what you need to get into your psyche is that the bowing is improvised. And it should be improvised. And so you want to get really fluid with your bow. And again, for certain types of fiddle music, it's going to be different. Scottish music is a lot more rigid. The bowing is kind of, boring in that it's a lot of down, up, down, up, down. But you have all of these syncopations and all of these different kind of accented rhythms happening, which you will improvise, and that will change how you bow and where exactly things go. So even though it's very rigid, it's also very loosey-goosey in terms of the rhythm and where those rhythms fall. So even though you're only going down and up, that is by no means the only thing that you're doing with your bow. When it comes to Irish music, you're going to be slurring all over the place and slurring this and slurring that. And, those are going to change and ebb and flow as you play the tune and as the tune develops and as you add more to the tune. And the same with old time music and bluegrass as well. Things are going to change depending on what you decide to play in that moment. If you decide to improvise and do a little thing, that's going to totally change your bowing. And that's how it should be on all of these different styles of music. It should be, stylistically improvising what's happening in the moment and speaking your, having your musicality come through. So improvising is really important. Bear that in mind. And that comes out in how we talk about the bowing as well. And this is something that I really want to make sure that everyone understands, is that fiddle players think about bowing in a completely different way than classical players do. And it even took me a really long time to even understand this. But fiddle players don't look at their fiddle music on a page and think about slurs. In fact, they don't think about slurs at all. Slurs are not something that I am ever thinking about when I'm playing fiddle music. The slur, as in the little line that goes over the two notes to say these two notes are on the same bow. Just when that clicked in for me, that fiddle players don't think about slurring ever, just all of a sudden everything made sense about bowing. what is happening is the tune is happening. My left hand is playing the melody. And then what my left hand is doing is my left hand is creating rhythms that are almost separate to that melody. So in fiddle bowing, you're thinking about what's the rhythm. I'm not thinking about where the slur is. I'm thinking about going down, up, down, up, down, up, and having that be the motif for this whole A part that I'm playing, regardless of what the notes are. Does that make sense? So the bowing is really about the rhythm. It's about where is the emphasis going. And that can sometimes have nothing to do with the melody. And as we go along, you'll be able to see where and why this is happening. But it's a really good concept to understand. So when you're thinking about the bowing for a tune that you're about to play, think about what's the rhythmic theme for this tune? Like, what do I kind of want to get across? What's the mood here? You know what I mean? Is the mood, I really want to take all these big, long, sweeping up and down bows because I want to sound like the Scottish Highland bagpipes, you know, wah, wah. That's a terrible impression, but sometimes you want to do that. Sometimes you really want to give the feel, and I'm doing all of this slurring and not even thinking about it because I'm thinking about this up and down. And so that happens so often that, you know, I'll be playing an Irish tune, for instance, and I'll think, oh, I really want to give like a lift on this last little bit. And I really want to do that almost every time I play that. Or I really want to do it a little bit differently this time. And I am never thinking about which notes I'm slurring. Just never. It never crosses my mind in the way of, oh, these two notes I want to slur. It's all about the feel of the rhythm. So I'm going to show you exactly how that works. And I'm going to show you that by taking the tune out of the tune. And I know this sounds weird, but let's give it a try. I'm going to play a tune that I love to play. This is a Cape Breton tune called Molly Rankins, and I'm going to put a little Irish flavor in there just to mix things up. And here's how the tune goes. So there's a ton going on in there. There's the tune. So I'm adding a whole bunch of fun stuff in there. And so what I'm going to do to show you what's happening in there is I'm going to take the tune out. So I'm going to play just a D, and I'll do this on my D string so you can see that there are no fingers happening. And so I'm going to play exactly what I just played with just my bow, and you can see what it sounds like. There's so much going on, and you can do this with any tune. Just don't play the tune, just play the root note of the tune and check your bowing and see, is this sounding good? Is this not sounding good? Does this need a little extra spice? Which might be happening. And that's the way you can practice some of these bow techniques and little syncopations and things, and, you know, add some flavor and continue to kind of improvise some different ideas. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was helpful, and good luck on your bow journey. Have fun with it, get loose, and it's all going to be just lots of fun.